Hi everyone, and welcome back to my platform here, still in the month of April of 2025. And of course we continue. Let's talk about my project, right, for DARPA. And here also we'll talk about the protocol for the ashram for Marines, right? We're spiritual beings having human experience. And this is my soul group, right, who ended up in those dark projects, whether it's the CHIMERA group, the Skull and Bones, right? And they were practicing, that's the death cult. Okay, so again, on Ascension glossary, Lisa Rainey, and for them we have the protocol is the audio files for clearing. It's actually on my website yanakalai.com protocol, and you can find just little introduction audios for, you know, ascension introduction, ascension guidelines, identify fear, begin to clear fear from chakras, declare intention to ascend, clear emotional negativity, relationship closure, exercise, especially of those relationships of that dysfunctional and toxic nature. Then we talk about the basic core cutting, right? We need to cut those cords, especially those who were, like I said, the Skull and Bones, right? The terroristic organization and so on, because those guys, they experience rape, SRA, and torture and so on, and they have entity possessions. So, you know, very important process with that, right? Imagining Solar Christ Archangel Michael, okay, and his blue flame sword, okay, of correction, and of course of divine justice as well. I talk a lot about the violet flame of invocation. That's already your 7D crown chakra, right? And I talk about, this is star seeds here who ended up in those dark projects. So we have to include everything, the sound body, right? We have to include our chakras. We have to include, you know, meridians, the mind body, emotional body, the astral field, because through drinking on drugs, steroids, they ended up in astral slavery, right? Controlled by the negative aliens, okay? Where they're also, I'm dealing with Zetas. I have Zeta agreement, right? We're controlled by those reptilians, by the Dracos, and of course also we deal with the Orion group or the Nazi group, right? The Nazi Gestapo faction, and the Arachnoids. Those are the Chimera group, and especially they infiltrated the entire Asia or China, okay? And they're all hand in hand, and kind of they are merging in the proxy state of Israel, right? With all these proxy wars with proxy Israel, instigated whether from Saturn, right? They have all these satellites there, all this blood sacrifice, and of course we see the Cabal, the Illuminati here in the physical plane, but that's only part of it, right? We need to go to that anti-particle world, right? And we need to see the entire picture. So that's why the yogis, you know, the rishis, that consciousness is descending upon us. And with the starseeds, the volunteer works, and the mystics, right? We came here, we volunteered, and we incarnated to these bloodline families, right? And we're ending the cycle of that dark occult, right? Of that black magic, right? Of that misogyny, of that transhumanism, transgenderism, all these genocides and eugenics, okay? And of course it takes process, but remember, you know, energy, if you know how to work with energy, is much more powerful. And it's that's why things are now, well, whatever is happening, transpiring, because now these very powerful cosmic plasma photonic light frequencies, you know, the rainbow rays of that cosmic nature, galactic nature, interstellar nature, right? They're coming down upon us, and, you know, star nations, family, they're helping us with all that, right? So now things are, things are being exposed, and the energy is being amplified. All of us are on our trajectory, right? What we've been dealing with, or what we are going through, how we are transforming things, what we are doing for others, how we are healing ourselves, loving ourselves, and the forgiveness, right? forgiveness is the key. Very important, the forgiveness and compassion. Very important, especially for my soul group, right? There has to be lots of compassionate energies there. And because they've been dealing with all these dark energies. I've been working with goddess Kali, right? So because the death call, the skull and bones and all, that's desecration of the divine feminine, especially Holy Mother, Divine Mother, but Cosmic Mother is here, and we have direct connection to Andromeda, which already, that's 16, 17, 18 dimension. Okay, we already talked about it. And right, the ashram for the military. Let me see, I have, where's where is my little skull? That's actually SEMPER. There should be some, I think I just put it here. Oh, it's right here. It's right, the SEMPER FIDELIS SPIRITUS SANCTUS CHRISTOS SOPHIA Maria Magdalena. So all the ego, all the predator mind, this whole black magic, right? It all needs to drop with the Luciferian covenant, because these guys were who are star seeds, and they're supposed to be the defenders of truth and divine justice. They're Rosicrucians, they're Pleiadians, they're also of that Melchizedek order, Solar Christ, Archangel Michael lineages, right? And they ended up in those electrostatic bodies, black goo, the fallen tree of life, right? And doing horrible things. They ended up sleepers. Okay, so now you know, because last time we talked about what is really the sleepers. It is the warfare of biology, and how those negative aliens and with these CHIMERA, SARS, CoV-2, right? What is happening within, well, your body, blood, but remember also to our chakras, to our meridians, to our light body, to our emotional body, and so on, is total digression, is total desecration, is total abomination, is total travesty. What has been happening there in those higher places and in the military sector, and you know, my soul group, what happened to my soul group, right? That all needs to be corrected. We need to bring everything right side up, and that's why we have the healing center, the ashram, right, for the Marines. And you know, they need a proper care. Remember, we are sound, light, frequency, vibration. We are 99.9% energy, only 0.1% matter. So we have to understand the entire energy structure of our anatomy, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And again, I hope I'll find it, because there's just so much information. And so we're not only in a physical plane, right? But also here, this is our soul body, monetic body, avatar body. So really to understand and this is the threefold founder flame, that's the Rishi consciousness. This is, we work with these energies, 13, 14, 15, and I even mentioned 16, 17, 18 dimensions, right? This, we are the column of light shining bright. How important is to understand the entire structure, the Ascension anatomy, or the Ascension mechanics, the consciousness mechanics, right? We talked about it last time or 2 videos before, right? How important is to meditate, the Kundalini yoga. What is Kundalini, right? Prana, chi within us. How important, right? Because we are spiritual beings, how important is to do spirituality, and how to really understand consciousness. We're just not amino acid, we're just not a neurotransmitter, right? We're just not neurons, we're just not cells, even though the cells carry the light of our soul, and of course, and then oversoul, those who are empath sensitives and star seeds. And we actually already came here as avatars, right, of that positive faction, because in the military, those guys who are indigo warriors, right, they turn them into dark avatars. And these guys, they're stuck in 1, 2, 3. First 3 chakras, and people, humanity as well. That's why, you know, I have to go to work and see how these people are also possessed, who smoke a lot, who drink a lot, right? They party a lot, they vape a lot, and all these sexual partners, and young generation with interesting energies as well. and how important it is to do the energy hygiene and the transformational work, the healing work, taking time for ourselves, and understand, you know, for some people, you know, money makes the world go around. And sometimes I also feel like, you know, interesting, I had to pay my bills. I didn't work for like 3 months, already lost thousands of dollars, and it's just like, wow, right? But I'm here working on the project, and I have to walking those energies of love and faith and trust and grace and gratitude and compassion. So, you know, it's just kind of so balancing these energies. It's all about going to, like I said, raising the frequency vibration, being of service, loving ourselves, opening our hearts so we can open others, right? We're also DNA activators, light code carriers, you know, so we are, you know, turning the cycle. I mean, we're exiting the Kali Yoga back into, you know, the Satya Yuga, right here with my guru or teacher, with my holy father, Satya Sai Baba. And there's a changing of the guards, right? Changing, right? The victory of the light is here, right? And now we are pretty much, we're walking these energies of ascension, and we are just now making the unconscious conscious, right? We're healing ourselves, and now, you know, we have to be very strong spiritual warriors, right? Or light workers, or light warriors, right? Now we know, we see how the ascension is happening step by step, because you know, we were bringing these, we're descending the energies from extremely high dimensions, right? But here we're still dealing with the physical material world, right? And like I mentioned, like we have to meet in the middle in our hearts, right? The North America, the South America. I talk about it, right? This is how we overcome. This is how we exit the matrix of the archons, right? The Chimera group, and you know, all these false realities, and you know, this mind control, right? And we are transitioning, right? We kind of, you know, energetically, you know, that things are shifting. So energetically, we already, you know, have that 5D platform. Actually, if you're in your heart, this is your higher heart, that's already your AD, so we're star seeds, you know, understand that. And so speaking our truth, right? And the color blue is very important here for our throat chakra. And also defending the Constitution of 1776 is very important. Freedom, right? We are expressing ourselves freely with loving kindness, of course, but this is our birthright. So you have to know your rights, and that's all Galactic Codex, the law of grace. Right, you have the right for ascension, for abundance, to know, understand, you know, the galactic cosmic history. You have right to be free and sovereign. You have the right to pursue your happiness, your passion, right? And also I have the right to meet my soul family, or, you know, meeting our soul family, star family. Well, unfortunately, that's the karma. My soul group ended up in those dark projects, right? All these black ops, the military covert operations, right, by the SSP Secret Space Program with their CCP jabs, you know, so all kinds of horrible nanobots, nanotechnology, venom, right? Keeping them in extremely low frequency vibration, right? But also understand all these satellites, right? We're space. Right? I am dealing with the war in space. I'm dealing with the Dracos, right? I am dealing with those negative aliens. Well, because yeah, we're the column of light, because we are the column of light shining bright. We travel through via the Merkaba, right? We go to these dimensions. Whether there was the Orion group and so on. That's already AD. So, and what else I wanted to say is my soul group, yeah, ended up, you know, in those dark projects. So we're helping them with the rehabilitation, and you can see everything on my website, yanakalai.com. But you know, yeah, this is a warfare here going on, you know, a spiritual silent wars, yeah, about the satellites. You have to understand the signals, the frequency, right? Why the 5G towers are there. or the project Jade Helm in Long Island, right? What really happened, right? How they're messing up with their frequency, how it causes, you know, horrible things, diseases to our body, to people, you know, to women and so on, right? I don't want to again talk about these, you know, the diseases and everything, but you know, this is not okay. So we have to protect ourselves, whether Shanghai, whether you have to also, you know, protect yourself from cell phone, from Wi-Fi and so on. And remember, the negative aliens, especially the military sector, right? They have scalar weapons, microwaves, right? Microwave weapons, the directed energy weapons, right? The lasers. We already talked about it. You know what happened in California, how that was done, huh? Putting smart meters to people's homes, right? That was the whole California coast there, because when I was there 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, I mean, even the North California, the South California, the energy was incredible, right? It was already ascending. These energies from Lemuria were already reactivated there. But unfortunately, you know, what happened then, the 9/11 and the, you know, the agenda, you know, of the transhumanism, transgenderism, the agenda of this one world order was being implemented there. Because also those negative aliens, they have cloaking and cloning technology, correct? And the OTO, the secret societies, and they're running the law of reversals, and they think they can get away with it because here, you know, people want to see everything. You know, we have to understand the cause. We have to go way up there, right? So that's why we see things, we have to see things from cosmic perspective. We cannot just see things here, right, in that physical realm. We have to connect to our soul, to our oversoul, to our beloved mighty I am presence, and see the entire picture, the entire hologram, from A to Z, right? 360-degree clear vision. And you know, so that's why it's, yeah, this is cosmic project, cosmic galactic, we're cosmic beings here. The Oraphim who've been hybridized, whether with the Anunnaki, with the Nephilim, right? Well, we've been all kind of pretty much reptilianized, mind controlled. I also have a Nazi DNA as well, the Nazi lineage, right? That connects me to those who, you know, were those kind of powerful black magicians, or under black magic spell under during World War II. So these energy needs to be resurrected, you know, the bloodline, the lineages, and so on. Some of them, you know, beautiful power souls, so unfortunately got blackmailed, or, you know, hexed, or this whole DNA hacking and so on that is happening with DARPA, right? And then fusing people with some, you know, AI signals that are wrong. They're running the reversals and full of infections. And also we talk about the Zeta Seal and the alien implants, alien mind control. So those guys in the military mind group, right? The Marines, the Marine Corps under the military industrial complex under DARPA, that we are creating the healing protocol project for them, right? And the Ashram for Marines, you know, I mean, healing center, yoga, Ayurveda, meditation, so they can finally breathe, you know, yeah, resurrect all their energies and get them back on track and start feeling their true nature, their true essence, who they truly are, and via the sacred union, right? You know, we talk about also, it's a process, definitely. You know, even like we talk about the 3 levels, you know, 3 levels of sacred marriage, correct? So, you know, this is project very complex, I understand, so I apologize for that. But slowly and surely, you know, when you start understanding yourself and working with the Kundalini energy, right? And let me see, do I have a chakras here? I have the particles, right? Very important, lum, right? We talk about with the chakra, this lum, dum, ram, yam, hum, right? Start reverberating these energies and claim your power back for each chakra, right? Where's the first chakra, the second chakra, third chakra, right? How you're slowly and surely protecting these energies. You can invoke the violet flame or bring the soul energy, the solar light, right? Coming down and imbuing your chakras, right, with these loving energies of unconditional love of Holy Mother, Divine Mother of Christ, Yahshua, right, and so on, and start freeing yourself from that astral slavery, because being on drugs and steroids, right, and even their addiction is being controlled via AI of Dracos, those Draconians, right, the whole the Gestapo, draconian terrorism, horror, terror, and so on, right? The energy of my soul group is being siphoned and used for luge harvesting, and of course, you know, they have a soul binding, the blood covenant, right? So we talk about how important it is to cut those cords, and you know, all this secrecy that all needs to be exposed in order for these beautiful souls to free themselves. So we have to talk about it, but there's a strike back. That's why we talk about the 12D, right? The 12D shielding, how that is so important, right? Because you are protecting all your 7 chakras, right? With a 12D shield. Remember, the 6-pointed star, it's a feminine female energy, right? Even though people think it represents the house of David, if you study sacred geometry, there is a totally different picture. And those, the dark ones, the DARPA, the black magicians, they are doing these black magic, you know, horrible things over sacred geometry. And people now, maybe they can think, oh, the chakra is something horrible, or the 6-pointed star is something horrible. No. If you understand the cosmic galactic history, I mean, that's how we were designed, through sound, light, frequency, vibration, through sacred geometry, even tetrahedron. This is our God code. This is within our DNA. And that's why all, you know, to me, like the military, the recruitments and so on, they're targeting the God codes, the sacred geometry, and tainting the blood, you know, of my soul group of Marines, you know, guys who join military, especially highly advanced souls, and they are turned into digital avatars. They are turned into black magicians, and that's all going to divine justice, and justice will be served, right? That's why I also talk about the natural laws, the 13 principles of natural laws, universal laws, the galactic codex implementation, and implementing the golden rule, right? It's like, this is how we are making the shift, right? This is how we are switching the energy, frequency, vibration, when we start treating ourselves nicely, so then we treat others nicely. But of course, you know, there's a process. Yeah, there's a transition, you know, things are happening, but for some of us can be a rough ride, you know, a very difficult road. This is not easy, but you know, we are here, we are working with anti-particle chakras, right? So that's why we deal with the Alpha Draconis, you know, we deal with the Zetas, we deal with those black magicians, we deal with those hybrid Anunnaki, right? And so on, because this is consciousness, this, you know, travel through us via these chakras, right? And this is how we identified what in the world is happening, who is doing what, and because I was connected to the internet of all things, because I got that horrible thing, right? And other things also happened to me in the astral plane and in that physical plane. I explained how on that astral energy, right, they open your skull, they also can get into your astral chakra column and so on, right? So and I ended up in that black goo, in that electrostatic bodies, also full of parasites, entities, implants, and so on. At the same time, those negative ones, they are siphoning energy from us, right? I had all these horrible entities and the whole black magicians within my aura energy field that they were feeding off of. They were destroying it. So it means that, you know, they're parasites, they're entities, right? So I can see it on a human form here. People who drink and smoke, and you know, the problems with AC, and you know how people don't know how to be inner sustained, inner directed, right? Too much food, you know, vaping and all this stuff, and people la la land, you know, they're happy because money makes the world go around. But when I look at their aura energy field, I have a totally different picture. And then people, even the young generation, so many of them, they're in denial. They don't want to talk about it, right? So, you know, my project, and also for military veterans and so on, you know, it's for the younger or young generation. It is what it is, you know, and you know, because some of them are very powerful souls, right? And you know, here we're helping them to exit, to help to be free, exit and be free from those dark forces. Okay, and that was done to them, all this without their informed consent. So that's why it's so important to talk about those kind of things and have that knowledge and awareness, right? Because now, thank you, I know, understand. Oh, now I know what to do. Oh, there's a solution. You know, there are things already happening. There are already things in the air, and you know, it depends, you know, how you mean that. But you know, the energies, the sun, the sunshine, the ocean, right? I just fasted for 37 or 38 hours. You know, I was on the sun yesterday. Even though, how come the chemtrails are still going on, huh? How come? Because, you know, this is a complex situation. This is not only here on this planet. Where do you think these chemtrails and all these kind of interesting nanobots and all these, you know, narratives and strategies, they come from even off planet, right? The Giza intelligence, the moon, Mars, Saturn, right? And even Pluto, right? We talk about the red trident. So we have to understand the total agenda of those negative aliens. We have to understand exopolitics, and we really have to understand who we truly are and remember our true divine inheritance, right? And you know, being the soul embodied, monadic embodied, like the avatar self here embodied of that Christos of SOPHIA hologram, right? And that's how we override the infection AI of those Dracos, Draconians, and those reptiles, reptilians, and all that Nazi Gestapo faction. Well, somebody, you know, has to do it, and we have to also talk about it, because we are here in the physical form. So when you see me here and people talk about interesting things, but they're about me, and I still have to go to work, and I just had a smoothie, right? And so I'm still here operating in the physical plane, but with consciousness, right? We go way up there, okay, and do what needs to be done. So I was trained by the Ashtar Galactic Command when I was growing up, because they identified me, but at the same time the Draco already knew that I was born here, so they were doing also all kinds of interesting things and entity possessions as a child growing up, right? I was already told, you know, what I was supposed to be doing when I was 6-7 years old. I saw myself in this great, you know, in this incredible spirit body when I was only 2 years old, 3 years old, and so on, right? So some of us, we have to come here and, you know, helping with the transformation, helping with the ascension, with the transition, right? And doing all these corrections, bring everything right side up, because we've been living here in the duality, negatively polarized. So when people talk about yin yang, this is beautiful for those angelic people, right? The 7D, you know, planetary logos, a crown chakra. But if I talk about me, yin yang yang, duality, the particle chakra, anti-particle chakras, right? The visible world, invisible world, humans, non-humans, we have to include everything. So if this is the divine feminine, negatively polarized, and this is the divine masculine, positively polarized, in a particle world, right, visible world, guess what? It turns the other way around. Then you have the masculine energy that is now negatively polarized, and you have the feminine energy positively polarized, right? And this is the whole, you know, this is the universal kundalini. You have to understand, you have to be a mystic, you have to be yogi, yogini, you have to be highly advanced, you know, ascended soul, solar Rishi, and so on. You have to understand the entire hologram of that 15-dimensional universal time matrix in order to override the agenda of those negative aliens. And so again, this is again project, yeah, the particle, anti-particle chakra. So again, project, right, for DARPA, that's for my soul group veterans, you know, super soldiers, the cabal, the skull and bones, especially, right, the Marines, and so on, who had ended up in this whole kind of Gestapo, Nazi, Satanist, Luciferian faction hologram, and everything is now under the Galactic Codex, under the Law of One. Okay, and we have the New Earth jurisdiction. We have cosmic leadership, right? So these are the platforms that we've been forming. I've been forming on working on it. It's on PDF file. It's available like for everybody, but at the same time now everybody's responsible, right? And so what are you doing now, you know, with these with this material, right? I mean, at the same time, we have the right to create our own reality, and you know, working with these kind of materials with responsibility here is a must, because now the cosmic energies are here, and what goes around comes around, right? Here, what we see in the physical plane is only the effect. If you understand the law of cause and effect, you have to go to the anti-particle invisible world, right, and detect everything there. How important that is, okay? And how important also we came here to master ourselves again, okay? The self-mastery, finding the energetic core and remembering our spiritual purpose. That's why we are here, and we're helping those who unfortunately, you know, and like again ended up, or who there was the soul contract and agreement, who ended up in those extremely, you know, dark places. Okay, whether you call it HELL or, you know, and here we are bringing the heaven on earth again, and they need lots of healing, lots of rehabilitation, you know, lots of patience. And for me, yoga, Ayurveda, right, that's my background, and also the Tai Chi. I really enjoy the Tai Chi Gong, and then, you know, the breath work and the diet, you know, the superfood, drinking distilled water, and the 8 steps of yoga. The morality is important, the morals, ethics, virtues, right, how that is important, coloring mandala, PTSD time to heal. I talk about the 12D shielding, unity vow, unity meditation. We've been doing it with Sandra Walter now for 9 years, guys. And so that's why the energies, right, the old ones are collapsing, and here, voila, we have these new energy, beautiful energy, cosmic solar light, you know, the crystalline golden light. It's all coming online. And so you can bring these energies from the sun or galactic sun or great central sun here and surround yourself, envelop yourself. It's like a liquid plasma light. It's like a beautiful, loving, nurturing, and it's like a nourishment for our soul, right? So these energies are here, and so that's why I know people used to talk about the soul business, and yeah, we talk about the soul union here, and you know, this like the soul mission, right? Because we are the light of our soul, and very important to be in the power of that light of Christ, right? We talk about the Karaya Sata Allah, the crystal ages, right? Breastplate, you know, the armor of God, right? With the 12D shielding, the platinum light. And so when this is how you are also activating your etheric DNA, and this is how, you know, we are jiving and rolling and going forward, right? Very important. So this was again my introduction, and I actually wanted to talk about, let me see, the implants behavior profile. Maybe I'll talk about it next time, but let me at least start about it, because this is so important to understand that what is really happening, you know, within our mind, our brain, you know, how important to really have your sovereign brain nervous system, because this is actually the MK Ultra, you know, I'm helping veterans and my soul group and so on, how to, you know, heal from all that. And so here you can also read the guardian perspective on that central nervous system, right? And that's why in spirituality, we talk about the nadis. That's actually the etheric structure of your central nervous system. So not only like the physical part, right? Like being a neurosurgeon or a neuroscientist, we need to understand the consciousness, right? We need to meditate. We have to do the inner work, transformational work. That's why to me, we came here, the warriors from Shambhala, Shangri-La, you know, and the energy of solar rishis is here, because to bring the unity within us, right? We are the divine masculine, the divine feminine merging together within our heart, whether it's your higher heart or it's your fourth chakra, right? And this is how we're, start remembering who we truly are. This is how we're ascending, right? The evolution is imminent, the advancement, the consciousness expansion, right? The soul connection and all this awakening is happening, in a very colossal, massive way. So there's beautiful things happening at the same time, right? We're also shadow workers. I mean, we're training dark arts. So, somebody had to come here, right? Like I said. And, this is, Kali, Durga, these energies help me. And of course, Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. That's why the chanting, right? So important. The positive affirmations, so important. The violet flame invocation, so important. And the music, the sound, 432 hertz, right? Very important, guys, So this is how the body can relax. You can expand your lungs, right? Also, again, I'm working at a certain place. I actually worked there 2 or 3 years ago, right? There's a salt cave. And so, the negative ions, right? Or when we walk on the beach, this is, it's like a balm for our soul, for our body, for our mind, for our emotions, for our nervous system, right? Because the nervous system, the brainwave frequency has been hijacked here. We've been, weaponized and compromised here, absolutely. And totally desecrated and poisoned. Okay, the GMO food, the chemtrail, like I already mentioned, it's still happening, right? So what in the world? That's because we are dealing with negative aliens and we're dealing with extremely highly advanced technologies. How come we didn't receive help, whether for California and North Carolina? Because there are factions, among factions, especially the military, the deep state or deep corrupted state and so on, politician, I always hear DARPA. I need to go back to DARPA and so on, right? And they're also fighting among each other as well. Remember, in a visible world, invisible world. Human form, non-human form. So here we have to embrace the entire structure, right? That's why doing the meditation, diving deep within, right? And totally seizing the jihad, the inner struggle that is within us, right? No more triggers, no more, the ego needs to go, the predator mind and so on, right? From those, freeing ourselves from those first 3 chakras, how important to be in our heart and speaking our truth and being psychic, decalcifying the pineal gland and resurrecting the 7D, that's your planetary logos, right? And of course, with me, we go AD, 9D, right? How in the whole Super Soldier project, we talk about how that has been hijacked and totally desecrated and compromised with those implants right there in your medulla oblongata and what it does, how these guys cannot channel their light and their eyes turn into kind of black hole, right? So, and they're possessed and they're on drugs and steroids, right? While those entities are totally siphoning energies from them. And I know it's DARPA, the CHIMERA group, the Orion group, and you have the ISIS, and some of these people, like they have a list who was on that island and who are the Mossad, the Zionists. Remember, some of them, there's all black magic, black magicians. Some of them been already cloned. Some of them don't even know who they are. They've been so programmed. They went through MK Ultra. Some of them are just nothing, robots, the dark avatars, right? When you read the energies, right? They don't even remember. There's a mind slide technology. They don't even remember what really happened, what was done, if they are sleepers. We talk about what are the sleepers, right? So the sleeping agent and so on. This is, guys, complex. So at the same time, we are doing the research, right? We also have to dive deep within our hearts and dive deep within our soul and embody the soul, how we're embodying our soul when we cleanse the temple, right? Our body, when we purify our mind, when we stabilize our emotions, right? No more triggers, right? So lots of emotional healing is going to be provided, or it's kind of recommended for my soul group. It's for my... for the Marines, right? It's from the Ashtar here, the Ashtar Galactic Command. And remember, we're doing our best. And, it's all about divine timing, divine balance, right? And remember that, you know, all is well, you know, victory of the light. And of course, we overcome, you know, the power lies within us. So I'll talk to you next time. Again, talk about the implants behavior profile in a little bit, right? And many blessings and namaste. Bye-bye.